All right, welcome back to another episode of Designing the Best You. Today's going to be a fun one. You guys are all going to want to listen in, but before we get started, go ahead and check the show notes. Make sure you subscribe to our newsletter. And if you need to book a call, go ahead and go on in there. There's all kinds of links to fun stuff and previous episodes and you name it. But anyways, today we're going to dive in here. So most journeys, how do they start? They start with a single step, right? And that single step, it's usually the most important, right? Because it's like once we start walking, then we keep walking and we keep going, but it's taking that first step. And a job search, gosh, it can be so freaking terrifying, right? So terrifying that some people, they even struggle to begin the walk, okay? And that's the hardest part, as you're like, I just got laid off. I just got whatever, right? And here's the thing is when you are in a job search or you're advancing your career in any manner, okay? Job searching is literally advancing your career. Okay, let's put it that way. It requires confidence, right? That you have marketable skills. And I'm going to tell you guys all right now, if no one has told you, you do. You have marketable skills. If you are breathing and you've made it through 18 years of school, you have marketable skills, okay? But how confident are you when you just got laid off? Maybe you've been laid off and you haven't had a job in months. Whole different story in terms of confidence, right? You're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? Or let's say you're an older worker and you have old school skills. You're like, how in the world now can I get a job, right? Or maybe your last workplace was so toxic that you feel like you have third-degree burns like all over your body. Okay, maybe that one's a little melodramatic, but submitting your resume, reaching out to colleagues, it's hard if you don't feel confident, no matter what the reason may be, right? So searching for a new job, let's put it this way, it's like reaching out your hand to strangers until, like in a crowd, until someone shakes it, right? It's like, hi, those people who in the stores are like trying to get you to buy whatever cable and stuff like that. It's just like, they're just waiting for someone to stop and notice them. Okay, same thing here. Similar, right? You get the point. And that fear that no one will grab your hand can paralyze your efforts, right? Fear is a common emotion. I don't like it. None of us want to experience it. And, when there's love, there's no fear. But we got to be real too. All right. We all have some kind of fears. And I heard this a couple weeks ago and I wrote it down and I'm like, I've got to remember to talk about this on the podcast or make a post about it. But let's take it as an acronym. Here's I don't want to say negative, but the not so good mindset aspect of the acronym, right? Forget everything and run. We want to take that forget everything and run and turn it into face everything and rise. I thought that was pretty good, right? Yeah, we need to face everything and rise. We're going to have setbacks in life, not just in our jobs and careers. And what are we going to do to overcome the fears that we have, okay? So let's go over some common job search fears that I know you guys all have. And then we'll talk about the number one thing that you guys are going to need in advancing your career and job search, okay? Ready for it? Let's do it. All right, so that we have that possibility of rejection, and that's what makes the job search so scary. Raise your hand if you just love being rejected. I don't think any of us do. Okay, deep down, maybe, some extroverts and some really confident salespeople are like, yeah, I love being rejected, right? But deep down, you do that. That happens to you over and over and over, and it hurts, okay? But what happens is taking that first step. Because if you don't take the first step, how are you going to know if you're ever going to have the opportunity to get another job or to level up in your company? You got to take the first step. Okay, Psychology Today says this fear is really about avoiding what you want and most need in life. I'm going to pull up a quote here that they actually from this article, and it says, and I'll link it in the show notes, we resist what is most important to us. How many of you guys are like, yeah, I'm not going to do laundry. I will do everything else in the freaking house but laundry. Yeah, I will do everything else but, right? We resist it. We want to choose. So the quote again, we resist what is most important to us. We want to choose the perfect job and we're afraid we'll make a mistake. We want to write the perfect resume, respond perfectly to all interview questions, and negotiate the perfect deal. So we procrastinate around all these activities. And it's so true, right? It is so true. I don't know how many clients I have right now that are like, yeah, but I just decided to take a day from me. Or, oh yeah, I meant to get around to that. Oh, yeah. Okay, guys, if it's important to you to advance your career or to get a job so you can support your family, why are you procrastinating? Okay. And so this article, it suggests that for some people, the job search is so scary that it actually can kick up those instincts of, and we talk about this quite a bit, of flight, not fight, flight or freeze. And you got to overcome those feelings in order to move forward. So we have to think about, what are we afraid of and how can we de-escalate that fear? Right? We do this with employees, right? How can we de-escalate a situation? You're never going to get rid of it completely, but how can we de-escalate it so we can actually think clearly? Okay? So, come on into my office, y'all. We're going to address some of the fear that's holding you back. Okay? The sets of fears. There's a list of them I have here, and it's not a big list. Okay, I don't like big lists anymore these days. Okay, but the first one is that rejection. Okay, if you apply to jobs online, as much as I don't like doing that, but you guys still do it. So if you're applying to a job online, there's gonna be a chance, we all know this, that your resume is just gonna disappear into this black hole. Right? We talk about that a lot. Or go back in the day, if you're old enough, and you fax your resume over and it falls into the wastebasket. Okay, right? It disappears. Okay. Let's say you're emotionally invested in that job. You're like, what the heck, right? Or you get the immediate response back of, your job doesn't, or your application doesn't meet the requirements or whatever all these automated emails are, right? Or let's say, or if you don't even hear anything back ever, right? Ever, what happens? It shakes your confidence, big time. Big time. You're like waiting. You're like, oh my gosh, this is the job. This is the company that I've been waiting for. And I met all the requirements, right? Men apply, guys, to jobs that are 60% meet their requirements, like their qualifications, and women wait till it's 100%. So think about that too in the back of your mind, okay? Let's say you get a rejection to the application. Okay, you're like, that sucks, but let's move it a step forward. You got the application. They accepted the application and you got scheduled for an interview. You went through the interview process, and then maybe you got through like 1 round, 2 rounds, 3 rounds. I've heard people going through 4 or 5 rounds and then getting rejected. Yes, only one person wins the job. Yes. But man, does that shake your confidence. You're like, I thought I had it. You're like, I freaking thought I had it, right? Guys, it sucks. I don't know how many times I have clients come to me like, I met everything. These sets of interviews were amazing. I know I'm getting the job. I know there's no way anyone else can outbeat me, right? And then boom. And then what happens is you got to start the job search all over again. And you're like, now I have to send out my credentials again. I have to face this process over and over of the potential of being rejected once again. That you have to take that first step again. Right? And that takes an act of courage. And it's hard when it's like over and over and over again, right? So that first one is embarrassment. The second fear that we have is embarrassment. Any of you guys, especially men who have been laid off, whether it was your fault or not, and you're the breadwinner and you got to provide for your family, what happens? You're like, man, that was unexpected, or maybe it was expected. But that was unexpected, and you can feel ashamed by having to look for work now, right? Asking help from your network or from family or whatever, it's humbling, but it's necessary for a successful job search, right? It can be so embarrassing, right? The next one is one of my favorites because it's near and dear to my heart. It's something that I had to overcome so many times as a young female. And if you have listened to my story over and over, I worked in male-dominated industries as an engineer. And that was very difficult all the way through schooling, through corporate. It was hard, okay? It's the fear of being not worthy, that imposter syndrome, okay? You're like, and if you really, as I've as I've healed through this and I've gone through it and I've walked clients through it too, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, not worthy? Everyone deserves to live their best life. Everyone deserves to showcase their skill set to an organization. Like, yes, you're worthy. Okay. You spend at least 40 hours a week working, and that's valuable time that should do more than just pay for your lifestyle. Right. But it's sad because I hear so many times how employees are just disengaged from their jobs. Okay. And it doesn't matter, entry level, corporate, executive, like, it's so sad. You've got to believe that you are worthy of a job that fulfills a fundamental need that is beyond your paycheck. Okay. I hear people like, oh my gosh, I have to get a job that's X amount of money, or I want to get a job that blah, blah, blah. But okay, that's great. Now, does it fill the need of being like worth something, right? Are you able to showcase your gifts and values that God gave you in that company? Or is it just a paycheck? Okay. Then you have the one that's one of my favorites too, unqualified. Again, it's kind of ironic if you think about it, because many of us, when we first graduated college or came out of high school and we applied to jobs, we didn't have the experience, but you need a job to get experience, right? The whole chicken and the egg thing. And as we move up the corporate ladder, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, let's say you're in project management and you want to go into sales. You're like, well, I don't really have the skill set, and I'm unqualified for this. But guys, that's where we have transferable skills. Do we use communication in every job? Yes. Do we use project management skills as a salesperson? Yes. Vice versa. Do you use sales as project manager? Yeah, you got to sell something. You have to sell a milestone, right? You sell changing a milestone. There's so many different things, and I would love to get on the phone with you or on a Zoom call and talk with you about how you can transfer your skills into another role, okay? But here's the thing is, you have to think about what core skills are necessary to the job and then apply if you believe you have what it takes. If you believe, not whether you think, not whether you don't have it. It's if you believe. You got to believe in yourself, okay? A job search, guys, any kind of advancement in your career, it takes a lot of time and effort and energy to find the right fits. Okay, it really does. But it's so important. Like I said, you spend over 40 hours, some of you 60, 80 hours a week there doing that. You could be working in your home and you're still spending that time. Okay, but here's the thing is, one of the issues that is holding you back might be how much time that job process can take. And you're fearing that. You're like, oh my gosh, this takes a lot of time. Okay, we have to uncover those fears in order for you to move forward, to take that first step. You're like, I already have been applying. I've been taking the first steps. Great, then why aren't you getting a job? Why aren't you getting the promotion? Why? And I'm not saying that to belittle you in any manner. I'm saying why? You have to really ask yourself, okay? I know if you're currently employed, you're juggling a lot of responsibilities, personally and professionally. Make the time. A job search, guys, should never take 40 hours a week. I say max 2 hours a day that you're doing stuff, unless you've got a lot of networking calls that you're on the phone with, or you're going and meeting someone in a physical location and you're having lunch and the conversation's good and things like that. Okay, but it shouldn't take that amount of time. And if it is, you don't have a plan. Right? We have a lot of plans for stuff, right? We'll get into that. All right. But you have to optimize the process. A lot of you work in process improvement and you're trying to make things more efficient in your company or have. Why are you not doing that in your own job search? Right? Just saying. So how do we get organized? We have to get organized to overcome our fears. You're like, Vanessa, I'm not an organized person. Well, guess what? If you're in this process of advancing your career, or if you're in the job search, you have to get organized in order to find a job quickly, okay? And get one that you like, so you're not making the same mistake over and over and over and over again. More on that to come, by the way, okay? So, for example, right now, as this is getting recorded, we're on spring break, okay, for my kids. We have activities planned, which is great. We know what we're doing, what days we're doing them, at what times. We know the location, how to get there, where parking is going to be, how much it's going to cost, what clothes we need to be wearing for specific activities, what the weather is. We're in Chicago, so who knows, right? But we know what clothes we need to wear, what shoes we need to wear. We know what food we should be packing, how we should be bringing that food. Are we allowed to bring that food into the activity place or not? We have a plan. Oh, imagine that, a plan. right? And if we didn't have a plan and we just showed up at the museum, whatever, it wouldn't be as enjoyable, would it? It would be chaotic. It would probably be a nightmare. But if we have a plan, guess what? And we work the plan, we might encounter some traffic. We might encounter a parking issue. We might have to pay more for something. Some food might get dropped. They might be hungry, hungrier than we expected, whatever it may be. But we have most of the plans set, right? If you have no plan, how do you expect yourself to succeed in any manner? Okay? Now, my husband will joke and say, you don't have to have a plan for every minute of the day. No, you don't. No. But you've got to have something to go off of. And then, of course, when you've got kids or you got employees, right? You've got, and I'm not saying your kids are employees, by the way, but when you have those and you're leading those people, you have to have a plan. Otherwise, it's going to be freaking chaos. I almost said another word. It's going to be chaotic, okay? We don't want that. So there's 7 days in a week. I always encourage at least one day for rest and a Sabbath. I use Sundays. You can choose whatever day works best for you. There's no rhyme or reason or rule behind it. You can take 2 days if you want to, okay? If you like, hey, weekends, I'm not doing any career advancement, job search activities. Great, that's fine. I'm going to give you a template for 7 days just so you have it. And this is just an example, something to start with, right? A first step, and you can modify it however you want, okay? So Monday, make it a me day, all right? And by the way, you guys are like, what day is the best day to apply? Any day, guys, any day. If you make yourself known, it's any day, okay? So me day, by completing some self-analysis, all right? I go through this with every client before we even start the whole process, like, hey, what does the perfect job look like to you? And I say perfect lightly, but what type of job is going to make you thrive, right? What is the ideal amount of time you want to be working? What's the commute? Would you rather work from home? Do you want hybrid? How long do you want the commute to be, right? Try sitting down and actually writing that stuff out. It's basically your non-negotiables, right? These are the things I must have. Obviously, if you're without a job and you're a breadwinner, you're going to have to make a certain amount of money too. Got to be real, okay? But then you have what things are going to be flexible, okay? So you need to write down those things and ask some of the questions. What do you like about work? What makes you happy? Do you like solving problems? Do you enjoy creativity? Do you want more creativity? Do you like the team that you've been on before? What teams do you like that you've been on, right? Are there elements in your past job or your current job that you'd like to keep? How important is money? Would you take less to have a job you enjoy more? You got to be real with that type of stuff, okay? Tuesday, research. Everyone's like, I hate research. I love research, by the way. If you guys have known me, I love research. Go to a job board like Indeed or LinkedIn or wherever and search for the type of job you want, okay? Most of those boards, they allow you to set up alerts, that type of thing, and make a list of companies that are hiring or even not hiring that you really want to work at. You're like, hey, I want to work at a competitor. Like I was working at Adidas and I want to work at Nike. And I want to check out and see what maybe jobs they have available. I want to check out their culture, or maybe this is what I heard about their culture. This is what I like. Even if you they aren't posting a job that is available, I will tell you right now, I never, in all of my career, applied to a job that was open. I said, here's a problem. I'm your solution. Or this is a problem that I've seen that you guys have. Here's how I'm the solution. Hire me at this rate or not. Bold, yes, especially as a young 20-year-old years and years ago. But it works, okay? But you have to be confident in yourself and your skills, and you have to have a great attitude and a willingness to learn, okay? So which one of you do? You just have to believe that you can again, okay? So then you take a list of companies maybe you want to look for, and then go. Glassdoor is huge, guys. I don't think it's used as much as it should be. Go to Glassdoor and check the reviews, because that's where employees, current and past employees, do post about the company and the culture and all those type of things. They post about interview questions that have been asked in interviews, so you can kind of get an idea. There's so many different things. Really go check it out, okay? Check out the company website. That's huge. And I have a whole list that I'll be posting here in the next couple of weeks of here are the things you should be looking for on a company website. Okay, and how they align with your goals and values. And yeah, I won't say any more about that because I want you guys to get that downloadable here in a couple weeks. So, and then make a list of keywords that you see popping up on those postings. Now, notice I'm not saying apply to those jobs. You can save them if you want, but don't apply to them right now. Okay, you're just doing your research. Tuesday is research day. Okay, now we have Wednesday. Okay, is kind of what I call resume revamp day. Now you can reach out to a resume writer, or you can reach out to myself. You can to write your resume, which I think is always a good idea because it gets a different perspective. But it is up to you to tailor it to each job that you're going to be applying for. Okay. And one thing you want to notice is if you're going from sales to a project manager or vice versa, that you're going to want to notice there's different keywords. And, maybe sales strategy is something for sales. You're going to want to make sure that it's kind of sprinkled throughout your resume. Okay, if it's true that you have that skill. All right, make sure it's true. I see so many resumes that just, they just over-glorify the person. Okay, and I'm not saying that those things are, let's not lie. Guys, please don't lie just because you want the job. All right, it will come out sometime or another. End of story there. Okay. Don't pick any fancy resume designs unless you're in like the C-suites or just right below the C-suite in some senior VP levels. You don't need a fancy resume and whatnot, because if you're in the C-suite or just below, you're not going to be using the job boards anyways. You're going to literally be handing your resume over. But everyone else, you want something that's going to be applicant tracking system friendly, so ATS friendly for the most part. Again, I don't like those systems because it's like, hey, I'm going to fill out all the information after you uploaded my resume, and we're supposed to parse the information, and no one's allowed to know what the exact algorithm is, and there's now like 50 different ones out there, and so who knows. All right, now off my horse about that. So yeah, you want to do that, because what's going to happen is when you have the keywords too, is when you've got and this goes the same with your LinkedIn profile. If you have a recruiter or hiring manager, it's going to be easier for them to find you with those keywords versus some other lingo. Okay. Thursday, this is a big one. Scrub your social media. You're like, well, I don't really have social media. I don't care if you have one profile. Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, whatever. I don't use those, but like, make sure Twitter, YouTube, you name it, go through all of them and make sure what you have been looking at, what you've been commenting on, what you've been posting, what your profile looks like is professional. And if it's not, there's ways to get rid of those on the settings. There's ways to change your name, okay? That type thing, because that's the last thing that you want to disqualify you from a job is, oh, this person isn't professional. Okay? We all have fun. We all have our personal lives, yes, but please let's be PR about a lot of this stuff, okay? They're going to search you. I'm telling you right now, they're going to Google your name. They're going to, and I'm telling you, if LinkedIn does not come up as the first couple of search options, you got to redo your LinkedIn profile. You got to have it SEO friendly, okay? Anyways, I'll get off of my boat about that. Friday is a really good day. Since no one really likes working anyways, it's hard to keep people motivated by Friday. It's a good day for socializing. Those are good days to make the coffee chats. Those are good days to go out to lunch with people, really network. Now, I do encourage it every day, but if you're like, hey, I need to really keep things focused and to start off, Friday, make it your networking day. Make it your socializing day. This is a really good thing too for socializing too, if you're more of an introvert or if you're an extrovert, whatever. Take a look at your contacts list in your social media platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, and ask yourself this set of questions, okay? Can they serve as a reference? If the person's on LinkedIn, would they write you a reference or a recommendation for your profile? That boosts things, by the way, guys. That's like when you're going on vacation and you're looking for a restaurant in the area, the Google reviews, right? You're like, that one has like 10,842 5-star reviews. I think we should go there, right? Now, make sure that they're, again, true recommendations in the person's own words. And it's a really good way to showcase your value again, okay? Ask if the connection currently, does that connection currently work at a place that made your list for like places you want to work for? All right. Would that person be willing to look at your resume with a critical eye and provide good feedback? Right? Or who do they know? And could they refer you to that person? Okay. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, I have to make all these new connections. No, you don't. Yes, you do, but gosh, there's so many people who could do at least one of those things on the questions I just listed for you. Huge, right? It's all about who you know, right? And then Saturday could be the day or whatever other day, could be the day for online applications. Okay, you have a list of companies you want to target, you have a cleaned up resume, you've got a list of leads, hopefully from your networking connections, then you can start sending out your resume, or if you want to go through job boards and things like that, okay? So a couple do's: make sure your resume is customized for the job that you're applying to. It's time consuming, but it's worth it. If they allow for a cover letter, use it, because it's another way to showcase your personality. And then check out the company's profile on their website before applying too, because you don't want to work for a company that, we'll go into that another time. And then make Sunday or any other day, or you can combine it into Saturday, as your prep day for the week. Take stock of everything that you've accomplished. And here's the thing, because you guys are such hard workers and you're so tenacious and you're so just driven, that you skip over some of these small successes. And I say this because I've done this before too, and I still can do this to this day. Take and not only map out your goals, but say hey, you know what? I'm going to take inventory of what I have done successfully. Maybe you did everything that week that you said you were going to do. Maybe you did 80% of it. Heck, maybe you even got a call back or something like that. All the little things. Hey, you're I wanted to apply to Nike and I did it. Simple. Okay. Maybe you had changed one of your limiting beliefs, whatever that is. Congratulate yourself for that, okay? It's huge in the motivation process and building your confidence, okay? So throughout this process, though, we're going to use those little things to motivate us, okay? Write them down. If you get some really good feedback from someone, put it in a file. Billy is amazing and does X, Y, and Z for organizations and blah, blah, blah. That stuff is going to motivate you on the hard days, okay? Trust me on this, all right? So are you ready now for the number one thing, the number one that you should do right now to take that one step in your job search and advance your career? Ready? Drum roll. I wish I had a drum roll here. My fingers, I can't do it. Okay. Sorry. But showcase your value. And you're like, what? Now, you're probably going to want to work with a coach or a mentor on this, as we usually are clouded by our own beliefs, okay, and our judgment. And as a career strategist, I do work with leaders on their executive visibility strategy to share their thought leadership, to build their professional reputation, okay? I help you guys, these professionals, to power up their profiles with an eye on positioning themselves for their next career adventure, right? It's an adventure, guys, whether it's into a new corporation or their current one. And the two things that are going to make you stand out and showcase your value are, one, ensuring your LinkedIn profile shows it, okay? Not just what you've done, okay? Please use LinkedIn. It is an amazing platform. Use it. Be on there daily. Comment on posts intelligently. Share your insights and articles. And even better, post your own thoughts. You're not just this entry-level college students who just came out of college, right, and just posting random stuff. Okay, you are intelligent, you have expertise, and people could use it. Okay, what this does is, you want to stay focused, okay? But what this does is it allows you to weave in your personality and some personal aspects. And again, when people are searching on your profile, they can see that and they're like, wow, that is someone I want or don't want working at my company. They have great thoughts. They solve this problem, or they may be able to solve this problem. Just having a resume, that's only this tiny little part of showing someone what you can do. LinkedIn can help you amplify that, okay? And the second thing is, think about this, okay? Think about using a mission statement. Now, companies, right? Nike again, just do it. Companies and entrepreneurs use them too. They use them and you can use them too. Like for example, you could say, I work with tech companies to increase revenue through customer engagement. Or, I help product development teams to get to market faster through accelerated innovation. I mean, these are a great start to an elevator pitch, right? Huge. All right. And then they're like, yeah, I want that person. And then here's the thing too, is it's just like a storefront. Picture yourself as your whole body and mind are a store. And someone, how do they know what you can do? If someone's walking down the street, do you know what they can do? No, you can't. But if someone opens their mouth and says, hey, right, I help product development teams get to market faster through accelerated innovation, you're like, I want to learn, I want to know more. Like my company's actually looking for like some help with product development. Right? Oh, look there's a whole store with all kinds of stuff in it, right? Yes, just like a company like, right, Target, Nike, whatever, they have so much to offer inside their store, but it's getting people in their store. Any small business the same way, right? With mine, I help corporate professionals advance their careers by removing hidden obstacles that keep them stuck. You're like, well, okay, great. And then you open up the whole entire store and you're like, wow, you got physical, you got emotional, you've got mental stuff, you've got the career stuff, you've got health stuff. I mean, all the things. And that's what helps people advance in their careers is all those things. But they're going to look for that one thing first because that's the one thing that's hurting their company right now. And if you can show them that you are the solution to that problem, right? So you got to have like a little bit of a mission statement there, okay? And then you can put it in your LinkedIn profile, okay? So by, rather than considering something like LinkedIn as like an afterthought, which so many people do, is they're like, okay, I've got to update everything now. And then you look at their profile, like you've got nothing on there. Like, oh my gosh, you're going to go from like 0 to 100. Yes, but like should continue with it. Okay. There's so many aspects to it, which is why I say find a coach or a strategist to help you with it. Okay. Because it can be very overwhelming. Okay. And it can be scary. Like, what if I post something I don't like, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Right. But by presenting a very well-considered profile, it showcases the value you bring to your profession. There's no one that's ever going to be on this earth like you with everything that you have. Okay. You do that and you're going to be well on your way to scoring a new role. It's perfect for your skills and your interests. Okay, so don't wait. If you are ready to advance your career by removing those blocks that are keeping you stuck, and these are some of them, these fears, okay, go ahead and head to the show notes, get on a call with me, sign up for the newsletter, reach out to me on social media, however you want to do it, okay? Share this episode with people, please, too, okay? This is all about you and what you can give to the world. Don't hide your skills and your talents. Don't steal them away from someone who can use them, a company that can use them, because you have these fears that are keeping you stuck. All right, until next time, let's keep on designing the best you.